So, this new Machine Gun Kelly album, it's, you know, yeah. It's not good. Machine Gun Kelly, American actor, rapper, cringe-lord, poster boy for the pop-punk revival, is back with a brand new studio album, Mainstream Sellout. There's a good chance you already know who Machine Gun Kelly is. There's a very good chance that you already have very strong opinions on Machine Gun Kelly. There's a good chance you've already seen videos from the Punk Rock MBA and Anthony Fantano and a slew of other prominent rock and metal and punk YouTubers and music critics detailing everything they either like or do not like about Machine Gun Kelly and his style and his sound and his attitude and his identity. For all of these reasons and the fact that this channel is called The Metal Meltdown, I did not really intend on making a video about Machine Gun Kelly or about Mainstream Sellout until I actually heard Mainstream Sellout in its entirety. At which point, I came to the conclusion that this isn't just the worst pop-punk album in recent memory. It's also the worst punk album, maybe ever, and it's definitely one of the worst rock albums I've ever heard, ever. Like sweet Kentucky Fried goddamn fucking fuck on a stick, this shit is atrocious. This shit is pathetic. And I want to make it very clear before we go any further. I am not approaching this record as a gatekeeping metal elitist who hates pop-punk and thinks Machine Gun Kelly is a poser or a sellout, because I don't really actually care. I'm approaching this as somebody who just genuinely loves music, specifically rock, punk, and metal music, and wants to explore as much of it as possible, and wants to talk about as much of it as possible. That's why I do things the way that I do things on the Metal Meltdown, because I just like to talk about and explore lots of different types of rock, metal, and punk music. It usually ends up being mostly metal, duh, but I love it all. And pop-punk especially, you know? I was a kid when Green Day dropped American Idiot, and I remember, you know, listening to, like, The Offspring and Fall Out Boy and classic Blink-182 and shit like that, and of course older Green Day records as well. And I got a soft spot now for like this kind of modern wave of pop-punk. Weirdly, like, I really love Pup. They're a really cool pop-punk band out of my home city of Toronto, Ontario. They just dropped an awesome new album, The Unraveling of Pup the Band. It's fantastic. It's one of the best rock albums of the fucking year so far. It's really good. Every issue I have with Mainstream Sellout stems from the fact that it is a really bad album on almost every conceivable level. At its absolute best, it is bland, it is generic, it is a lifeless, soul-sucking charade of pop-punk stereotypes and cliches, and at its absolute worst, it truly is one of the worst punk or rock or pop-punk records I've ever heard in my life. One thing that really grinds my gears about Machine Gun Kelly and his particular take on pop-punk is that it just completely lacks any kind of real energy, momentum, or enthusiasm. Like when I listen to a classic record like Dookie, when I listen to songs like Longview, Basket Case, When I Come Around, Welcome to Paradise, She, I'm legitimately having so much fun. The riffs are so punchy, the choruses are really big and bright and dynamic. It's just really fun, head-banging pop-punk party music. It's so much fun. There's a reason why the song Having a Blast is called Having a Fucking Blast, because I'm having a fucking blast, and so is Green Day. And same goes for a lot of the other bands I've mentioned so far. There's an energy, a momentum, an enthusiasm to The Offspring, to Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, Pup. It defines pop-punk, you know? Even when you get a lot of mopey, whiny bullshit, there's still a lot of raging riffs, there's still some really great hooks, and it's really well made, and it's just really fun to listen to. Absolutely none of that energy, of that momentum, of that enthusiasm can be found at any single point on mainstream Sellout. Machine Gun Kelly sounds like he is sleepwalking through this thing. He has the most unenthusiastic and one-dimensional vocal range I think I've ever heard in my life. None of the riffs are all that inventive, or fun, or punchy. The production is very clean, to the point of feeling sterile and empty. The hooks aren't really all that interesting or memorable, and I find myself only remembering certain parts of this record because they're really fucking bad, or because certain parts are so repetitive that Machine Gun Kelly just kind of drills them into your brain. The chorus of Emo Girl being a great example. The only reason I remember this chorus is because Machine Gun Kelly and Willow feel the need to repeat "I'm in love with an emo girl" over and 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 over again. Tracks like Born with Horns, God Save Me, the album's title track, literally the most generic, cookie-cutter kind of pop-punk riffs and rhythms and chords and hooks imaginable, but diluted down, watered down, and like made as accessible and as simple and as safe as possible. Machine Gun Kelly somehow even manages to suck out all of the bombastic energy expected of a band like Bring Me the Horizon on a track like Maybe. To their credit, it does sound and feel like Bring Me the Horizon really tried to make the most of this collaboration. It really does feel like they tried to make something big and bold, something that, you know, the Machine Gun Kelly audience would enjoy, but also something that maybe the Bring Me the Horizon audience would enjoy. But all of their efforts are crushed and demolished by Machine Gun Kelly and his complete lack of character and charisma. There's actually a lot of other collaborations on this record, and unfortunately, none of them are great. In fact, I'd argue the Bring Me the Horizon one is probably the best one on the record. The aforementioned Emo Girl featuring Willow, I mean, she tries her best, but much like Bring Me the Horizon are weighed down on Maybe, she is weighed down big time on this. I mean, those lyrics are fucking trash. The riffs are trash. The production is trash. It's just a trash song. One of the worst pop-punk singles I think I've ever heard. There's also a lot of really corny, cringy, hip-hop, pop-punk fusion shit in tracks like Makeup Sex and Die in California, the former of which it features Black Bear. It's basically just a B-side left over from the previous Machine Gun Kelly record. It's not good. The latter of which features Gunna, Young Thug, Landon Barker. It's a more straightforward kind of hip-hop cut. The pop-punk stuff really only comes in through some of the lyrics and through some of the acoustic guitar passages that can be found sprinkled throughout the cut. Believe it or not, there are 2 Lil Wayne collaborations on this record, one of which is called A, one of which is called Drug Dealer, both of which are terrible and bring to mind the worst elements of Lil Wayne's ill-advised venture into rap rock territory on Rebirth. Drug Dealer is a weird cut too because it sees Machine Gun Kelly trying to romanticize what is a completely transactional relationship between a drug dealer and a drug user. And I think I shouldn't have to spell out why that would be very, very dangerous of Machine Gun Kelly to do. Equally dangerous is the track Sid and Nancy, in which Machine Gun Kelly has the audacity to romanticize the tragic, the toxic, the dangerous, the totally fucked up relationship of Sid Vicious and Nancy Spungen. Writing here, rip my shirt, I feel your skin on mine, this is yours, you can take my life. Drip my words onto the page, your knife did not work, no, we could have died. Count to 10 and see if I die, write it in blood and we both sign. Sid and Nancy, a murder-suicide. These are her words and mine. Yeah, it's weird that I have to explain to a 31-year-old man that this is not at all as sexy and romantic as he thinks it is, but this is not as sexy and romantic as you think it is. Though the worst offender lyrically is without question the album's title track, mainstream sellout. This is where it becomes abundantly clear that contrary to what he would like us to believe, everything we say about him gets to him on a very deep and personal level. Like, Machine Gun Kelly spends the entirety of this track bitching and moaning and whining about anonymous people online who in turn are bitching and moaning and whining that he's not punk, that he's too mainstream, that he's a sellout. You know, it's just so completely pathetic. It's childish. It's beyond stupid. Like, why are you letting a bunch of fucking idiots online tell you whether or not you're a real punk? Why do you even fucking care, Machine Gun Kelly? You're a multi-million-dollar rock star. You are the biggest name in rock today. You've toured the world. You date supermodels. What the fuck is your problem? Why do you fucking care? To a certain extent, this kind of petty, juvenile behavior bleeding over into the actual music was inevitable. We've seen time and time again on social media that Machine Gun Kelly is remarkably, hilariously easy to offend and trigger. Like, there's that clip of the Guitar Center employee basically saying that Machine Gun Kelly doesn't know how to play guitar, and Machine Gun Kelly responded to that by being, you know, a pissed-off little prick. There's the now infamous, oh my god, I didn't know there were emo guardians on social media clip from TikTok that, you know, it became so much of a meme, it became so reviled that TikTok actually had to remove the audio. Not that it stopped anyone from making memes, there were even a group of guys who started playing a bunch of pop-punk riffs over that clip, and believe it or not, those clips got so big that even I kind of joined in on the fun.
Oh my god. Oh my god, guys, why didn't you tell me that they were emo guardians on social media? And I didn't make the cut.
Like, that is 100% real. Side note, I think I should make a pop-punk album with these guys, because that actually sounds kind of cool. It's worth noting as well that Genius.com goes out of their way to say, when you look up the song Mainstream Sellout and its lyrics, that this may or may not have been inspired by Machine Gun Kelly's feud with Corey Taylor. Which honestly would not surprise me in the slightest, because he is such a thin-skinned baby. He has such a fragile ego, and he is so remarkably easy to upset. And that is ultimately why this is the worst punk album ever, as far as I'm concerned. Like, sure, the production, the music, the collabs, they're all fucking trash, but the attitude is what really seals the deal for me, because Machine Gun Kelly seems to think that if he says fuck you enough times, that if he raises his middle finger enough times, that, you know, all of the elitists, and all of the gatekeepers, and all of the trolls online, and all the people who tell him he's gay, and he's a sellout, and he's a poser, he seems to think that if he just, like, is a big enough dick, that it'll make him more punk. And that it'll own them, that it'll show them who's boss. In reality, it just makes him look so fragile. It makes him look all the more pathetic. I've no issue with an artist wanting to fight back against, you know, just horrible, hateful comments. I've done it myself. I've turned horrible, hateful comments into drinking games. There's definitely ways that you can deal with that kind of bullshit, but I don't think this is the way to do it. I do not think that a 31-year-old rock star crying that real punk doesn't accept him is the way to win real punk over. It just goes against the entire ethos of what punk really is. Like, when Joe Strummer, or Johnny Rotten, or Henry Rollins would raise their middle fingers, when they would say fuck you, it was towards an institution, an ideology, it was towards fascist political movements, it was towards organized religion, it was towards people that were trying to censor them, people that were trying to oppress them, people that actually did look down at them and treated them like scum. It wasn't towards a bunch of anonymous fucking cave trolls online that called them losers. Like, they didn't get angry or upset for the sake of being angry or upset, let alone because somebody was mean to them one time. They got angry and upset because they had something to say. There was something they needed to communicate. Machine Gun Kelly communicates nothing on this album other than everyone sucks except for me. Everyone else is lame. They said I'm a poser. They're stupid. And that's just so fucking pathetic to me. Like everything Green Day, Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, The Offspring, pop, what they do, what they perform within the realms of pop punk is coming from a genuine place. But this just feels so disingenuous. This feels as if it was made specifically so that Machine Gun Kelly can look at everyone who dares to criticize him and go, ha, you're a loser. Well, you know what, Machine Gun Kelly? Right back at ya. Eat shit. 0 to 5. An absolute atrocity. I hate this fucking record. Worst punk album I've ever heard in my life. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Why do you like this record? How dare you like this record? You are wrong for liking this record, and what do you want to hear from me next? Press this button right here so you can subscribe to the Metal Meltdown so you can get updates on it immediately in case you somehow aren't already. Make sure you leave lots of stupid, painful, butthurt comments because I'm hoping with enough we can do a Machine Gun Kelly drinking game because that would just be really fun. And yeah, that's it. Have a fantastic fucking day. It's 11:30 in the morning. Why the fuck am I drinking this?